Good morning and good Shabbos, Talmidim and Talmidot. I have the privilege every morning of learning Daf Yomi with my brother. My brother lives in Baltimore, and we have a chavruta early in the morning where we learn Daf Yomi together, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'd like to share Dvar Torah from yesterday's Daf that actually very much relates to this week's Parsha. As you know, Parshat Vaera is filled with the first set of makot, the first set of plagues. And without a doubt, one of the most famous images in the context of the plagues, and one of these makot that kids love talking about and love playing games around, is the makkah of Tzfardeya, the frogs. So the Gemara in Psachim, we are in the fourth parak of Psachim, says the following statement. Beautiful question. Gemara says, Ma ra'u Chananya, Mishael, va'Azariah shemasru atzmam al kedushas Hashem lekivshan ha'esh. What is it that Chananya, Mishael, and Azariah saw that caused them to want to jump into the fiery furnace in order to sanctify the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Stories told in the time of Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Bavel, the wicked king who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. Chananya, Mishael, and Azariah refused to bow down to the pestle, to the idol that Nebuchadnezzar had built. And Nebuchadnezzar decreed that they should be thrown into the Kivshan Ha'esh, and Kadosh Baruch Hu stepped in, miraculously saved them. So why did they do this? The Gemara says, Nisu kal v'chomer ba'atzm mispar dayim. They made a kal v'chomer for themselves from the frogs. What was the kal v'chomer? Says the Gemara, Uma hasfardim shein matzuin al kedushas Hashem k'tziv behu va'alu uva'u b'veisecha ubetanu recha umesharo secha. Frogs were not mitzvah on Kiddush Hashem. There was no mitzvah for the frogs to be moser nefesh, to give up their lives for Kiddush Hashem. But yet, we see, the Torah tells us when Moshe is warning Paro of what's going to happen, he says they're going to come into your palace, and they're going to be into your ovens. And what does it mean into their ovens? The Gemara says, Ematai mishos mitzutz eitzel tanur. When is it they're going to be into their ovens? Havi omer b'shasha tanur cham. Obviously, when the oven is hot. So the point is that they're going to kill themselves by being in the hot ovens. So Chananya, Mishael, and Azariah said, Anu, we, Shematzuvin al Kiddush Hashem, were commanded in the midst of sanctifying HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, al achad kama v'kama. So if the frogs can do it, for sure we can do it. And obviously the miracle happened. Beautiful Gemara. Very interesting Gemara. So the story is told, and I thank Eli Shulman, Rosh Yeshiva from Yeshiva University, who related this story in a Dvar Torah that I saw, given by alumni, rabbinic alumni from Yeshivat Har Etzion. I thank him for this story. So he tells the story, it's a famous story, I'd heard it before as well, that the Shagas Aryeh, one of the famous Gedolim, came to visit the Vilna Gaon, Rabbi Eliyahu mi Vilna, when the Vilna Gaon was still a young child. He was a young prodigy, he was a young child. And the story's told that the Shagas Aryeh wanted to ask the Vilna Gaon a question. So he said to him, he says, I don't understand. He quotes this Gemara, and he says, what does it mean that the frogs were not mitzvah on Kiddush Hashem? Moshe had commanded, had told Paro rather, that the frogs were going to be in the ovens. So the frogs had to jump in the ovens, otherwise Moshe would have been a liar. So that was a Kiddush Hashem also, because Moshe had predicted that the frogs were going to be all over the place. And one of the places that Moshe said was that the frogs were going to be in the oven. So it was a tzivui from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that the frogs would be in the ovens. So of course that's considered to be the case of a Kiddush Hashem. Obviously that's a Kiddush Hashem. What are you talking about? So the Vilna Gaon said, he said, so the Shagas Aryeh asked the Vilna Gaon, so why does the Gemara say that there wasn't mitzvah on Kiddush Hashem? So the Vilna Gaon answered a beautiful, incredible answer. Again, this is a young child. Supposedly he's a young child when he gave this answer. The Vilna Gaon said, it's true that the frogs in general were commanded on Kiddush Hashem, but each individual frog himself wasn't commanded to be in the oven. Meaning there were frogs everywhere. Frogs had to be in the bedrooms, the frogs had to be in the fields, the frogs had to be everywhere, in the dining room, in the food, in everything. So each frog could say, I don't have to be in the oven. He can be in the oven. He can be in the oven. That one can choose the oven. Chananya, Mishael, and Azariah, that was a specific tzivui, a specific command on them to sanctify HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, but not in general. So the point being is that the frogs, they had to step up in a different way. They weren't commanded individually to be Mekadesh Shem Shemayim. What an incredible answer. And the way the story goes, the Vilna Gaon really shocked the Shagas Aryeh, and supposedly he said to people, wow, what a mind, what a brilliant mind. This individual is going to become an incredible Gadol Hador. I think there's an incredible message that we can take away from the frogs, and that is the requirement, the need for personal responsibility to step up, to find a way to do something special, to help someone, to call someone, to check in on people, to recognize in life that there's always more that I can do. I could shirk responsibilities, I can give it over to somebody else, but I also can say, no, I'm going to make an impact today, I'm going to make an impact tomorrow. Each one of us in our own lives can think of ways in which this applies to us, and I leave it to you to take the message and to apply it in your own way. Thank you as always for listening. Shabbat Shalom.